Hello to everybody. It's really nice to be part of this meeting. I'm presenting a Faculty of Journalism and Book Studies, the Warsaw University. And from 3 years, I'm conducting research on propaganda in public media in Poland. And I'm very pleased to have a chance to presenting some elements from the results of my analysis. Unfortunately, Katarzyna is giving lecture for part-time students, so she couldn't appear with me, so I'm alone. Before I start, I show you the agenda of the presentation. There will be 3 elements: short political changes in Poland in 1989, 2 words about the establishment of public media and the mission of public media in theory and in practice, and of course the practice fragment, the practice element is most important of my presentation. Significant political transformation took place in Poland in 1989. I hope you know it. And it resulted, of course, to the collapse of communist system. In Poland, we have the round table, and it was crucial moment of this process because it was negotiation between Communist Party and opposition authorities. Based on agreement from the round table, in Poland we were organized in June 1988 first election. If we are talking about development of administration, we can say there is 2 significant stages. The years 1989, 1993. Television follows the old organization rules, and since 1st January of 1994, television and published radio started work separately. The most important element of the creation of television and radio, I mean public radio television, was the Act of Radio and Television and the Polish Constitution accepted in 1997. One of the important elements of this Act of Radio and Television was the role of the public media. And the mission in Poland is defined in the 21st article of the Act of Radio and Television, and it states that the public broadcaster should offer news, current affair programs, culture, entertainment, education, and sport to its viewers. The offer should be characterized by pluralism, impartiality, balance, and independence. And that's the theory. And if we are talking about the change of media, since the beginning, public media have been criticized for how they realize the mission. Parties deprived of influence on the authorities were very critical of them. The momentous change took place in 2016, and the regulations concerning indication of public media authorities have been changed. The new organ was found, and it is National Media Council, consisting of politicians and indicating members of public media authorities. The council is dominated by representatives of ruling party, and more than 200 journalists were removed from their jobs as the result of the political motivated purges. Never before, during 13 years of existence, public media have not been subordinated to their roles. And what is the practice? You can see on the screen the main new release of Wiadomości News. And the ticker, as you can see, is says the Civic Platform is one of the most important opposition party. The Civic Platform is the najploys of the Civic Platform. About some words about my analysis. I have analyzed the content of the news in main channel of public television to find out how the propaganda messages looks like. The analysis including 7 following releases from 4th to 10 of February, and it was 71 materials in this analysis. The first is the charter of about the methodology. The analysis regarded the following element: author of the news, tickers, you can see, news subject, character of the information, positive, negative, neutral, commenting people, graphic materials, and language tools and propaganda techniques. The first is the charter of the news. 34 of 71 news were positive in general, 29 was negative, 6 neutral. 2 news appeared to be hardly definable. Importantly, positive news referred to the government, the ruling party, the status of Polish economy, or international position of Poland. Negative news in total concerned activities of the opposition party. If we ask who appeared in the news, there were mostly politicians, as you can see, 111 times. Other people, it was second largest group, mostly so-called ordinary people. Street survey respondents and experts and politicians. And it is important because if we take a look at these 78% responders, they were always agreed in their opinion with a news narration. If it was positive to the government, people praised the government. If the news was critical toward the oppositional parties or the police or politicians, the responders were critical as well. I have noticed a clear disproportion in regard of to politicians in the news for the benefit of the ruling party, the prime minister, minister, marshal of parliament, politicians of ruling party, as well as the president, coming from the same political camp, were presented 61 times. Opposite politics was presented 7 times, always in critical context. And foreign politicians, as you can see, was presented because it was time of crisis in Colombia. so it was nothing to Polish cases. Disproportions among journalists presented in the news were also interesting. As you can see, those representing media supporting the government appear 21 of 31, like journals from socio-political weeklies and other media, I mean, weeklies sieci Do Rzeczy, Gazeta Polska, it's all papers who support the government. In the rest 10 news, there were journalists with expert status working in specialist media. And journalists used very emotional language in the news, both in the materials, intros from the studio, and you can see some examples of these emotional stuff. The tickers. The tickers are particularly important in propaganda messages because short sentence should introduce news topic in theory. However, in TVP News, they often are kind of emotional hint, a suggestion how to think and to interpret information presented. And they are the object of my separate analysis. I have now 4,000 of tickers, but I don't have time to talk about it. The next element is the epithets. Again, you can see some examples of epithets which was presented in the material. Some of them are tickers, but not all of them. And the next element of the building of propaganda vision of the world is Manichaean vision, we have messages consisting of positive presentation of activities of government, of ruling party, and of course negative presentation of activities of opposition parties, particularly civic platform. And you can see the government will support farmers, very good results of Polish economy, and on the opposition wants to political upheaval. Opposition has threats instead of a program. The next element is using technique is also presented as some who wants to harm in some way, as Poland, and we can see this Manichaean vision consisting of elites from Brussels or Polish judges, and you can see the examples of the tickers. And developing the propaganda messages refers also to the language figuratives, I mean metaphors. The war rhetoric was often used in the analyzed news, and here we go again, some examples of this element: capitulations of opponents, Warsaw campaign, Polish diplomatic offensive. It's all common to the language of war. Hyperboles is another language tool enhancing the meaning of the news. They are enabled to presentation of phenomena as unique, unprecedented. Obviously, they refer mostly activities of the government, both in Poland and abroad. So we have history low deficit, historical success of Paul, great support for Polish family, historic record profitability of Polish bonds.
Okay, Łukasz, you have about 2 more minutes, okay?
Okay, I'm close to finish. A metonymy, it's another element. It's a language construction where someone uses political names or names of states, capitals, instead of full name of the state. Sometimes it's just mental shortcut, but often such a metonymy is used to depreciate, to lower a range of or meaning of person described in this way. And we can see Franz Timmermans, Vice President of European Commission, who often criticized the Poland, and the Donald Tusk, of course, is one of the prime ministers of Poland, and tickers concerning the Brussels perceived as the center of European Union, and you can see some examples of this. So conclusions: the government can count to the support of media if it control it. These media not fulfill the role of public broadcaster nor its missions any longer. Pluralism of opinion in media are offered in the commercial televisions presenting news about Poland. If there lack commercial media in Poland, the media pluralism in Poland no longer exists. The same like in Russia and Hungary. And that's all. Thanks for your attention.